Greetings from Las Vegas and welcome to the EOG Sports Hour. John Kelly with you on a Friday night. Glad to be representing EOG. The three letters stand for Eye on Gaming, EOG.com, a website dedicated to the hearts and minds of sports bettors everywhere. We have a big show planned for you tonight. Three voices heard on tonight's program. My voice, the voice of Eric Strasser, who's a regular here on Friday nights during the baseball season, talking about the MLB playoff races. He's got three stories he wants to cover tonight and two selections he'll give out at the end of the program. We'll also address his struggles in the last month or so, not typical of what Eric normally provides. In fact, if you go to the website, PalmTreeHandicapping.com, you'll note 2 big years in baseball, one where he won over 130 units, but it's not going too well lately, and that'll happen to sharp handicappers every now and then. And also joining us on the program tonight, Wes Reynolds, back in the fold. Always good to chat with Wes. He's been in town now here in Las Vegas for the past year. We'll ask him about his experiences. You get a chance to hear him on Matt Youmans and Dave Koken's radio program, The Las Vegas Sports Line, heard weekday afternoons at 2 on ESPN 1100. Wes, a sharp sports handicapper from Indianapolis. His Twitter account, Wes Reynolds 1, says Indy born and bred. Wes, welcome back to the show.
Glad to be back, John. It's like seeing my ex-girlfriend all over again, being back here on the EOG Sports Hour. But you were the first to have me on the radio, and I always greatly appreciate it, and it's good to be on with you and Eric and producer extraordinaire Lawrence again.
How are you doing in terms of gambling, Wes?
I'm doing all right. Basically what I'm doing, because I don't have as big a bankroll as I would like to have, but basically what it's doing, it's paying my bills. It's allowing me to live. Unfortunately, I don't have the extra money. Like when I always see our friend Dink take these trips to Saratoga and Del Mar. He's been at it a lot longer than I ever. Go to WrestleMania, it's like, man, I'd like to have some extra money to do that, but it's basically, keeping the roof over your head and food on the table and keeping the lights on.
No 9-to-5 job, though? You don't have to answer to a boss?
No, not as of now. I'm always, looking for different types of revenue streams. It would be my preference not to go into the as you like to say, the service advisory business. But, you're always looking for different revenue streams, whether it's media stuff or whatever could come, in our lovely world of sports betting. So, it's one of those things you never say never, but...
Wes is a graduate of Indiana University. We'll quiz him on some of the college football that's taken place the last 2 nights. Plus, we'll preview some upcoming games. He'll have 3 plays for us on the college football card for tomorrow. I mentioned Indy born and bred off his Twitter account. The description, sports fan and better. Worked in sports, including cups of coffee with the Indiana Pacers, the IU Athletics Department, and also the Indiana Firebirds.
Arena football. We had that for several years. It was the lowest paying job I ever had, John, but it was the hell of a lot of fun because it was such a small staff. It was like us against the world, and it moved from Albany, from a much smaller market to a bigger market. And it was the time of my life, even though I was making, under $20,000 a year out of college, but started as an intern and got into a full-time position and was glad to have anything at that point.
Eric Strasser, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. It's always fun on Friday nights. I know where I'm going to be. Don't have to plan my Friday nights out. It's fun to be here. I'm glad to be back. And I'm glad to be here with Wes. We've missed him.
Thanks for recruiting Wes back to the program. We're going to grab a bite to eat after the show, catch up on some stories. We had breakfast this morning, though, Eric. You and I are breakfast mates when it comes to our Friday morning breakfast crew.
And before we go any further, a happy birthday to the great Steve McLaughlin. And I don't know how old he is, John, and I don't really care, but if I'm as young as he is, when I'm at whatever age he is now, I think I'll be very happy. So
there's a guy having fun, oftentimes,
no doubt.
What happens in this city, it's a tough town. It really is tough to exist. You have to be able to use the city. You can't let the city use you. And that's where Steve, I think, really, he used the city. He makes contacts, he has fun, he's smiling and laughing all the time. He's well known in a lot of different casinos. He's best known at the Orleans Hotel and Casino. He could be on the payroll there.
You mean he's not?
He's like a host. And credit the Orleans for treating him well, because in terms of casino management, casino marketing, that's one of the goals. That's one of their secret goals. Have popular players out and about serving as unofficial hosts. They're not on the payroll, but I want to go to places where I know my friends are going to be, where they're friendly. And, that's, I think that's something that the sports books in this town could do a better job of. Knock out the guys who you don't want, the goofballs and knuckleheads who might infest your sports book and keep people away.
Yeah, and I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday. A perfect example is Stations, what they've done with their poker rooms. I know there might have been a change in the last day or two, but when you think of Stations in the poker room, it's jumbo jackpot. I mean, it's the thing that they're known for. It was on their TV commercials. It was a big thing. And the jackpot got hit a few too many times over, I don't even know how often, so they cut it out. And now there's no jumbo jackpot. They have these other things that don't compare. And I was in one of the poker rooms this week, and, at a time when there used to be 7, 8, 10, 12 games, there was one game and like 3 people on a waiting list. I mean, the people in this town, there's not a lot of brand loyalty when you cut something that they've come to expect as a perk or as a reward, and they've paid the price for it. And it's exactly the opposite of what you were just talking about. I mean, you walk into the Orleans, especially if you're near Steve, everybody knows, everybody says hello. It's a friendly place, it's clean, and Stations is friendly, and well, not so much, but they're clean. I mean, like Red Rock, where I spend a lot of time, it's a beautiful casino, but you can't give people something and then take it away. They don't forget, and they really don't forgive. That's exactly, I think, what you're saying about Las Vegas.
Wes Reynolds, what's your favorite spot to bet sports, watch sports, hang out?
Usually either offshore on my home computer or on the various apps I have. I have William Hill, I have Stations, I have South Point. South Point is an establishment I do like. I like the way that it's set up. I think that they do a pretty good job down there, and I think they have good restaurants. I mean, I tell you what, at first I thought, oh, that's just, when I first got out here, I thought, oh, this was just some kind of local dive or whatever. Every time I go by there, that place is slammed. That place is hopping, and they're doing a heck of a business down there. And so that's a place I like to go. I mean, honestly, I'm not a guy unless I have a friend in town that wants to go do it, and then I'll go do it. But I mean, I don't like to sit in books and watch games a lot because, some of the people you get in there, when you're in a big crowd, are pretty insufferable. I told you they go up 7-0. I told you. And I mean, it's just. And
the smoking too.
Yeah. And even though I'm a smoker, I mean, you get some people, and then, I mean, there's some shops that are in some rough parts of town, or maybe you get a rough clientele in there where it's like, don't cash a ticket there at night, and I like to kind of be not necessarily always by myself, but I like to concentrate to where I can see the screen. I mean, obviously when you're in a book, unless you're really nearby that has Wi-Fi access, you can't have the Don Best or the sports options open and looking at halftime lines and shopping for the best number.